boop, 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 boop. Read it, read it, read it. Hello! If you didn't know, one of my very close book to Pickles is Regan from Peruse Project. And because it's her birthday today, I thought I would film a short video in honor of her, more specifically in honor of one of her skills to which I've fallen prey to time and time again, and it is book pushing. Regan and I share a very long book pushing career with each other. Hers is more successful than mine. I'm kind of like the person who just sits back and says, oh, you know, if you like it, please feel free to read it. Shout out the wind. Sorry, I think I have something stuck in my throat. And her approach is a little bit more aggressive, and I mean this in the nicest way possible. But yeah, so here are all the books that I have read because Regan convinced/forced me to. If you have been watching my videos for a really long time, or you just don't have anything better to do in your life than binge watching my channel, which, like, why? Then you will know that the first recommendation that we ever had was actually a book swap. I sent her a book, she sent me a book. The book that she sent me was the first book in the Codex Alera, Fears of Calderon, and I really liked it. It's high fantasy, and I read it, and then I read all 6 books, like the whole entire series, and we talked and gushed a lot about Tabby and Katai and all crazy stuff that goes on in that series. It's pretty awesome. Next up is Jane Eyre, and I've already owned Jane Eyre at that time, but I think I wouldn't have read it as soon as I did if she wasn't constantly saying, it's my favorite classic, it's so good, Mr. Rochester, Jane Eyre, quote this, quote that. And she made it sound really appealing, so I just gave in, and then afterwards I was like, oh my god, Mr. Rochester, Jane Eyre, quote this, quote that. So yeah, she was right. Great choice. Thank you. You're gonna hear that a lot in this video. So the reason why I think that we both really like to recommend books to each other is firstly because we're both booktubers and that's just what we do. And secondly, it's because we share very similar reading tastes. Like, it's really strange. I think in the whole entire time that I've known her, like, whenever she reads something, I know I will like it and vice versa, and it's very strange but also very cool because then I can just be like, hey, read this and tell me what you think about it, and I will never get disappointed or heartbroken that my friend does not like the book that I just recommended to her. Next is probably the book that she was the most aggressive about out of all. And that was literally like 3 days constant of, Jenny, you have to read this. Oh my god, it's so good, you have to read this. Read it now. And it is Vicious by V.E.Schwab, and it's an anti-hero story. And I read it, and it was really good. I'm sorry, I probably won't be able to come up with any other description than I read it, and it was really good. But I liked it a lot. It was good. Now, before I go into the next book/book series, I'd like to tell you a short story about my reading habits and Regan's book reading habits. So, usually, I am the kind of person, when I start a series, and the series are completed, I like to binge read it. So I like to start reading it, and if I really like the series, then I will binge read it within like this next several days, and then I'll be done, and I'll be like, oh my god, book hangover. Whereas Regan is kind of the type of person who likes to start a lot of book series and just not finish them at all. So it kind of goes down like, oh, I started this book series, Jenny, you should read it, and then I would finish reading it, but then she wouldn't keep on reading, so I would just sit there and be like, Regan, read the next book, read the next book, read the next book, but that never really happens. And this is the same case with this following book series, and it's The Daughter of Smoke and Bones by Laini Taylor. And when I told her, oh, I don't know what to read, I want to read something like YA fantasy-ish, and she was like, oh, go read The Daughter of Smoke and Bones, I just finished Days of Blood and Starlight. And so I read it, and then Jinx of Gods and Monsters came out, and then she just never read it. What are you doing, girl? We did the occasional buddy read with like Dyer and Hero of Ages. Hero of Ages, do you remember that? That took us a really long time to finally do. The next one is the Lumatere Chronicles, which is in my top 10 of 2014 of last year. And it's a YA fantasy trilogy, which doesn't really read like YA, it almost reads like adult high fantasy. And it's so good. It's by Melina, Marchetta, it's so good. And I wouldn't have ever probably heard about it if Regan didn't recommend it to me, so I'm very happy about that, and I love the series. And if you have not read the Lumatere Chronicles yet, what are you doing with your life? And the last series that I'm going to talk about today is probably one of the first series that I've heard Regan ever talk about, and it is the Seven Realms series by Cinda Chima. I know she talks about the series a lot on her channel because it's really fun. It's again YA fantasy because that's kind of our thing, reading YA fantasy. Like I think I've read like almost all of the YA fantasy up and down. Maybe not the Fallen Kingdom series, but other than that, I probably read all the YA fantasy out there. That might be an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. Yeah, Demon King, Exiled Queen, Grey Wolf's Throne, and Crimson Crown, they're all excellent. Han Solo, I just wanted to say Han Solo, but no, it's Han Alistair is awesome. Reza Anna Maria is awesome. All the side characters are awesome. The series is awesome. Regan, you're an awesome book pusher. That's all I wanted to say. Yeah. Happy birthday! As you can tell, I've already read a lot of books recommended to me by Regan. Thanks Regan for always coming up with great book recommendations and pushing them onto the people of the world. Yay, let's hug. This video is getting weird right now, but yay, let's hug. Yeah, and if you don't know Regan yet, then please go over, click on her channel, go check her out. And if you do, then go wish her a happy birthday and tell her to read Shadow of the Wind. Thanks for watching! Bye-bye! Happy birthday! My water is crap because the sun keeps on peeking out and then going behind clouds. But who cares? Because we gotta film this video right now. I don't know what's wrong with me right now. It's so hot in here.